a brief announcement. One of the commission members tested positive for COVID a couple of days ago. So as a result, Mr. DiAgostino is on the phone, and he's going to listen. There's going to be no vote today to all of your comments, and he's watching by live stream as well. Okay? At this time, I'd like everyone to stand so we can say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And just so everyone's clear, the maps were released. They're on the website. And everybody who would like to speak has the absolute right to speak today. Okay? We have a list. And if you're not on the list, I'll ask again if anyone would like to speak. So the first one listed on the speaker list is Janet Paretsky.
I'm very sorry to say this, but I see that the Republicans are continuing the practice of packing and cracking. You've packed District 1, and my district, I'm from Baldwin Harbor, so I see that Baldwin was again divided. Baldwin is in a district with Freeport, and then all the South Shore communities going east. That totally dilutes the vote of my area, Baldwin Harbor, which is largely Democratic, Freeport, which is largely Democratic, and then the other communities that tend to be largely Republican. So again, my vote doesn't count. Baldwin, which is a very powerless, unincorporated area, will be represented by, I guess, several people who, aren't all that interested. This is where we are. So my question is, truly, why are the Republicans afraid of sharing power? Why are you afraid of sharing power? Is it, if power is shared, it has to be more transparent, certainly. Decisions have to be made incorporating more people and more diverse opinions and more areas of interest. And we'll be touting additional people to have influence in the town of Hempstead. I guess I'm answering my own question, but truly, this map does nothing. We needn't have had a hearing. This is what you intended to do. There's no new majority district, which would only be fair given the demographics of town of Hempstead. And again, you've cracked Baldwin, and my vote in Baldwin Harbor won't count. It's going to be canceled out by somebody in Wantaw, Seaford. I don't think that's fair. And I have nobody who really is representing my area. And that's all I have to say. I think it's shameful. I really do. This is not a democracy, small d. This is not democratic, small d. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Felix Procacci.
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square. I had sent a email to the town redistricting commission to notice this meeting, to send an email blast out. They did send an email blast that included this meeting, but the email blast was titled, "The Goats Are Excited About the Mulch Fest." The first post within that email was about the Mulch Fest and the goats. The second email in that post had to do with the animal shelter. And the third post within that email had to do with today and next Monday's redistricting meeting. And then at the bottom, where they have upcoming events, they repeated the Mulch Fest. That was it. If that's not intention of keeping people out of this, I don't know what is. You should send out on December 23rd and December 24th, you sent out emails dedicated, not around the town with Don Clavin, but dedicated to the Mulch Fest. If you go to the town's Facebook page, there are 4 posts about the Mulch Fest. If you go to the town's Twitter page...
Mr. Procacci, I don't want to interrupt you, but at the last meeting as well as the meeting before, you've repeatedly said that the website, there was a problem. Now, I'm not the most technologically savvy person, but I've looked on the website every single day. You can't miss on our website the band at the top that specifically says redistricting meeting. So if you're going to make comments about the notice, I would ask you to be a little more correct. You said it last time, and they pulled it up on our phones. You cannot miss on our website this notice. And I apologize for interrupting you, but you repeatedly make these comments about the notices.
You're using up my time.
Not correct.
You're using up my time. You didn't stop the clock.
I apologize. I restore his time. I'll give you. You won't have to worry about your time.
The top Twitter posts: 4 posts about the Mulch Fest, no posts about the redistricting meeting. On the Instagram page, 2 posts about the Mulch Fest, no posts about the redistricting meeting. As far as you interrupting me, that's very disrespectful. You have infinite time after I speak to say all and mislead people as you see fit, this is what this is all about, because you didn't notice the first set of hearings that happened. You put it on the event calendar, but I sign up. If you look at my profile in the town of Hempstead, I sign up for everything, the town agenda, everything. I clicked every box to get an email alert about everything that's going on in this town. I didn't get one alert that was titled redistricting meeting. Okay? I got the emails on the Mulch Fest. That was working fine. For some reason, your computers don't work when you're noticing about redistricting meetings. I don't know why. I've been a programmer for 30 years. I've never had such an issue where one topic is excluded. If the emails don't work, they don't work for anything. How could they just not work for redistricting? Okay? Last time I said this proceeding is a sham, and you're proving me correct by your actions prior to this. This map, as the previous speaker said, is just tweaked, adjusted for population. I asked that District 2, District 3 should be more compact. Why does Franklin Square stick up in the pink area? I don't know. It should be adjusted so it's more compact. If you fix those problems, everything else will fall into place. You were intentionally going around certain neighborhoods and adjusting because you want to, not because it's necessary to be in compliance with the law, because you want to isolate certain areas. That's just plain to see. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Claudia Berecki?
Claudia Berecki from Merrick. The census found that the town of Hempstead has a population of over 700,000, 47% of which are people of color. Yet a commission comprised of 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat that only represents only 17% of the town's population led us to these racially discriminated maps, meant to keep 5 out of 6 Republican incumbents in office and keep communities of color at bay. These maps flagrantly violate the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which prohibits racial discrimination in voting. Quote, under Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, a change affecting voting, such as redistricting plan, may not be used by a covered jurisdiction unless that jurisdiction can show that the change has neither a discriminatory purpose nor will have a discriminatory effect. Maps that effectively deprive minority communities from having representation on the board obviously have a racially discriminatory effect. You selectively chose to abide by 3 out of the 6 redistricting criteria: compactness, contiguity, and equal population. You think you are placating the affected communities by keeping Elmont and Lakeview whole, but you fail to abide by the 2 criteria that prohibit redistricting based on political and racial biases. You selectively placed a community like Elmont with a community like Garden City, in which it has nothing in common. You did make Elmont whole, but by doing so, you still managed to dilute the voices of Elmont residents. Maps were provided to you that fairly redistrict the town of Hempstead. By creating 3 minority-majority districts, it will give half the population of the town of Hempstead representation on the board. It's bad enough that my tax dollars went to only draw 1 set of maps, unlike they do in the county. Curious, did you even bother to show the alternate set of maps to your partisan cartographer? I ask that you reject the maps being proposed today and consider maps that fairly creates 3 minority-majority districts as the 2023 census warrants. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. How does this go on? It went blank. The tab went blank. I apologize. Karen Montalbano is next. Got it. Don't touch anything else.
Karen Montalbano, Park Avenue, Baldwin. Government Liaison for Baldwin Civic Association. This is my third time here, because I didn't want to speak the first time because I was afraid I couldn't speak the second time. All right? When I came in, I said we had 1 zip code. We have 1 school district. We have Grand Avenue uniting all of Baldwin from top to bottom. Okay? We also have successfully gotten us our hamlet designated as 1 census designated place this time around. And yet, I asked you, we have 3 people we have to go to. And what did you do? Oh, you reduced us to 2 and split us in half. I don't understand why. You kept Wantor whole, you kept Seaford whole, and yet Baldwin is split. Could somebody explain to me why you had to split a small community that has over 400 people signing a petition that they want to be whole? What explanation do you have? Is there any answer? Or do we not get answers for your explanation?
This is a proposed map, and the map maker, when he proposed it, had to take into several considerations.
Can you stop my clock, please?
One of which was making sure that villages were kept whole. That's specifically listed in the law. Okay, hamlets are not. You're right that the number of councilmatic districts was reduced from 3 to 2. This is a work in progress. We're here to listen to you about your concerns about this proposed map, and I'm sure that the commission will take into account your concerns and recommend a map to the town board. And then the town board has the right, of course, to amend that map before they adopt it, and there'll be a hearing with regard to that.
My reading of what you had put out was that you were going to try to keep communities together. Yes, we are an unincorporated village, unincorporated. We're a hamlet. Why can't we just have one representation? It is totally, totally incredible to me. And I would love to hear the explanation for why it was split with a logical explanation, and I also would like to see a change made. Thank you.
Helen Smiley.
Ellen Smiley, Levittown. I'm going to skip the majority of my comments. They were already covered eloquently by somebody else, but I would like to know that there's going to be a separate email that goes out talking specifically about the commission hearings coming up, not that it's buried inside of something else. Around the Town with Don Clavin has no problem getting out. I'd like to see that same mailing list used specifically for information about upcoming commission hearings on the redistricting, because it's a critical piece of our lives going forward for the next 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Emil Varani.
Emil Varani, Valley Stream. Firstly, I want to wish Mr. D'Agostino a good recovery from COVID, and I hope you're well. I just have a few questions, if you could stop my time. First, would members of the public be permitted to speak again at the January 9th hearings?
Yes.
Okay. And when will these maps be introduced on the town calendar to be voted on?
That hasn't been determined yet.
Okay. Could you stop my time, please? Could you stop my clock? I have another question. Okay. And will there be any opportunities, will there be any other hearings before the board votes on it for the members of the public to be heard besides the January 9th hearing?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any dates?
Not at this time.
Okay. Do you have, how many? How many hearings will there be?
That's to be determined.
Okay. I mean, this sounds awfully important. Is there any feedback from the commission members? How many hearings do you think we should have? How many more hearings?
Well, the commission is going to have at least one more meeting, and then they're going to have a work session, and they're going to recommend a map to the board. After that, the town board will determine how many hearings they'll have.
Now, you called this a work in progress. Don't you think we should have more than one extra hearing? No? Okay. Well, just to comment on the maps, while there are less municipalities like my area of Valley Stream that are split up, you're not keeping places in common together, particularly school districts. Many speakers came up during the first two hearings to ask for Elmont and Valley Stream, like-minded communities to be put together, and these maps don't do that. And rather than agree with the public, commission members, you guys are just sitting here pretending to listen and taking notes, but Skyline wasn't told about the concerns about that people in these communities have. On to school districts, I'm still shocked that the lawyer for the Lawrence School District would continue to support splitting up his own school district in addition to the 5 towns. And that really speaks to the political motivations of the 2 Republican commission members who are regular donors to the Republican Party, and really speaks to their true motivations here. However, this will ultimately disenfranchise voters to have a fair voice for their community to be represented. And while I hope that the commission changes course on these maps, I doubt you will, because you have to show us that you're listening to what residents are saying. Thank you.
Thank you. On my current list, there are no other names for speakers. What, you going to update it? There is one more. Michael Torrey?
Thank you very much. Any particular reason why the mic's back here instead of me getting to speak closer to the commission members?
It's the normal way that the town board does it, so
Okay, that's a recent change since the meeting I spoke at in November. So you said this was a work in progress. Is there a date by which the town board must ratify its new maps? Please pause my time.
no.
So there is no deadline. Okay. Is there any expected opportunity to hear from the commission members themselves before this map gets introduced to the town board? Please pause my time.
The commission members have the opportunity now or at any other meeting to address your concerns if they'd like, but we're here to listen to you. That's the basic premise of these hearings. And I think, quite frankly, based upon the map, a lot of the concerns that were addressed at the first two meetings have in fact been addressed by this map. Not all of them, but some of them.
Okay. That's preposterous. Virtually none of the community's concerns were represented by the folks in Elmont and North Valley Stream who wanted to be put together, by Lakeview being put apart. It seems that Freeport and Baldwin and Roosevelt have been re-chopped up, so that's really quite, not accurate. And to my recollection, these maps were introduced to the website on December 20th, and then the hearing notes were added over the Christmas weekend, and then fully updated on, say, the 26th to the 27th of December. If you go look at the website right now, that blaring message that you said Mr. Procacci didn't see is not on the website. I just looked at it because I wanted to make sure the hearing feed was working. So do any of the commission members have anything to say about these maps that were introduced? Please pause my time. Okay. I don't agree with you that that's the most important thing that we can do. This appointed, Republican majority appointed commission with an uneven number of members, we need to hear what you think about this. Because, quite frankly, it doesn't seem like anyone's listening to anyone. So, I just wish there was more opportunity for the public to go on the record. I wish that the town could be more transparent in the process. Do you expect that a new board member will be appointed at a meeting before this process is done and then get to vote on this map? Please pause my time. The council can answer
That hasn't
the
been
question.
determined yet.
So someone who has not been chosen will have an opportunity to choose their voters. Let us not forget what redistricting is about. It is about letting residents have an opportunity to choose their legislators and not have legislators potentially choose their districts. There's nothing, should be no thing about that. I look forward to speaking again next week. Thank you.
Thank you. My list doesn't have anyone else. Is there anyone else? Okay. Why don't we start here? I saw your name, your hand first.
My name is Karen Moskowitz, and I serve as one of the co-chairs of the League of Women Voters of Nassau County's Redistricting Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to address the Commission today. The League is a nonpartisan grassroots nonprofit encouraging informed and active participation in our democracy. The League takes positions on a variety of public policy issues, but never supports or opposes any political party or candidate. A review of the Commission's proposed maps reveals deliberate manipulation of district lines, As we saw 10 years ago, districts have been drawn for the benefit of legislators without concern for the needs of many of its residents, in particular its communities of color. These committees now comprise over 40% of the town's population, and dozens of their residents gave testimony in this very chamber, clearly articulating why districts needed to be extensively redrawn. Multiple defects caused the maps to fail to adhere to relevant provisions of the U.S. Constitution and Federal Voting Rights Act, and to New York's Municipal Home Rule Law and John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act. For example, boundaries of the current districts gerrymandered 10 years ago have merely been tweaked in order to conform to the new 5% population deviation rule. As a result, districts are still not compact. For example, District 3 meanders up the western edge of the town, narrows into a skinny bridge near the southern state, before broadening again to take a sizable chunk out of District 2. Hempstead Village, a minority-majority community, has been divided despite the fact that its population could easily fit into a single district. We remind you that the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act affords protection to racial, ethnic, and language minority groups. Your proposed maps do not equitably represent important communities, thereby diluting their voting strength. We also remind you that the Municipal Home Rule Law forbids districts to be drawn in order to favor or disfavor incumbents or political parties. We recommend that the Commission responsibly redraw these maps before they're submitted to the Town Board in order to avoid the time and expense the town will incur from challenges by both residents and good government groups. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mimi Pierre Johnson from Elmont, New York. So all the rules, everything that Karen and everyone has said is absolutely right, but I want to take everyone to these maps. So when you look at the yellow, that is Elmont Valley Stream, and it goes into the 5 towns. That yellow part, that's Franklin Square. So yes, you have put Elmont and North Valley Stream together, but you fail at everything else. So what this map shows is exactly what we've been fighting since 2013. So in 2013, that map was illegal. It did not go to court. The plaintiff backed out of that court against the town for then the map that was illegal. So you're starting off with the current map that is not correct. And now you have exacerbated because 2013, we could have had at least 2 minority majorities. It didn't happen. The census of 2020 shows us that it's even greater of an increase of population in the Black and brown communities, in the minority communities. Elmont alone raised the response rate of the census by 10%. Elmont alone has over 2,000 new residents as of 2020. And since then, I'm sure it has increased even more. So you have a district that has South Asians, Asians, Caribbeans, African Americans, and so many other Hispanics. And what you have egregiously done, not you, the map person, who's a tool in continuously dividing, cracking, and gerrymandering our Black communities. What he did was take Franklin Square out of District 2 and took Franklin Square southwest and then took Elmont northeast to where we have nothing in common with Garden City going towards Salisbury. But the thing that is really interesting is that they took out Franklin Square and then skipped over to West Hempstead. So if you look at that yellow squiggly square, next to it is pink, That's West Hempstead. So what is the reasoning? So here's the question for the map drawer. What is the reasoning for you to take out Franklin Square and then continue out District 2 in West Hempstead? And then you went straight over to Uniondale. So don't tell me it is the number of the census, because Elmont, Valley Stream, Franklin Square, Belrose, Belrose Village, South Flora Park, New Hyde Park is enough for District 2. And that would have been a perfect minority majority, where everyone in that district would have had a fair share of choosing their elected official. But if you go deeper into this map, you will notice something else that happened. There is an overwhelming increase of the Democrats in Nassau County. So again, if you look at the numbers, we're talking about numbers of population and numbers of voters. And that is what this map does to the Black community. It took away, again, just like 2013, the voices of the minorities in Nassau County.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh.
Good morning. I'm Dan Oppenheimer, a resident of the Village of Hempstead. I would like to commend the Commission on placing all of the information on the website. Even though that's just the basic starting point, it's more than the Nassau County Redistricting Commission managed to do for many, many weeks. This does give us an opportunity to look at the maps and look at the data that Skyline Consulting has put in. Part of the most revealing and interesting information to me is in the 3-page summary that Skyline Consulting has prepared, and that is on the website. Also, if anyone here has not looked at it, I would recommend that you read it. And it specifically lists the 6 regulations covering the local redistricting home rule law. And to me, it reveals how at least 3 of these are not being met. The maps clearly in this proposal do meet equal population by some standards. But there is a little bit of a contradiction on that also. So I'm going to skip down to voting age population and total population. The variance now in the existing districts, it varies quite a bit, as is noted. In the proposed districts, among all population, it's very close. But when you look at voting age population, it's not nearly as close. So my question for the Commission to consider, in the standards for drawing the districts, what is the gold standard? Is it total population? Is it voting age population? Is it citizen population? What standard is considered the highest, most effective standard to be followed? I'm not sure that Skyline speaks to that or describes which one they select. When they refer to Village of Hempstead, it says voting age, non-Hispanic Black majority district, and in the population variance, it refers to all population. So that's a discrepancy of 2 different measurements in drawing the maps. Political considerations, that is number 4 under the Home Rule law. And it says a new redistricting rule states that districts shall not be drawn to discourage competition or favor or disfavor incumbents, candidates, or political parties. All changes made during redistricting have positive and negative political effects. And, quote, many commissions avoid looking at political data at all to insulate themselves from conscious political bias. So my question to this commission, have you avoided looking at political data at all to insulate yourself from conscious political bias. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn till January 9th. Ninth. That is correct. Any opposed? Al D'Agostino just voted aye. Mr. Chairman? Thank you.